Hey, wrestling fans, welcome to the One Wing Wrestling Podcast, where we help you navigate the complex world of pro wrestling, bringing you the best matches, world-class wrestlers, and news you can count on. At One Wing Wrestling, we bring the elite to you. My name is Krishna, and joining me, as always, is Mr. Bill Cupbush. Bill, how's it going?
It is rocking. It is rolling. It is nice out. It is a
Mm.
beautiful day here in Mississauga, and there is tons of wrestling to talk about. What more could a human being ever ask for in the world? Right? Right? So
Yeah,
that's
it's
what I did this weekend. I just watched wrestling. What'd you do?
I also watch wrestling. I ended up watching the WrestleMania both nights with my friends. Yeah, it was a fun time. I'll give it that. I guess WWE prepping for a sale. I guess they tried to pull out all the stops, and I will give credit where credit's due. Just production value wise, it's still the tops. Like it's still the tops. Like I was looking at, I always look at AEW. I'm always like, yeah, it's great. This is really great. And then I see WWE and some of the stuff they do, and I'm like, man, I don't understand. Like, is it the lighting? Is that what's happening here? Is it lights? Do they have more lights on this on the people? I don't know, but yeah, production wise, it looked amazing this weekend.
Cool. I'm glad that it looked good. I saw exactly none of it. I haven't listened to a single news report other than a headline that just said Roman Reigns retains. That
Yeah.
is my entire. Oh yeah, and I think Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens won.
Yes,
Okay.
they did.
So
Night one.
yeah. So like that's the sum total of my knowledge of what happened at WrestleMania this year.
It
I
was, it
know.
was, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. But then again, I was with my friends. I mean, that could also play into it, for me saying it's a fun time. The kids love it. Like their kids only know, um, uh, WWE wrestling. So, and they have their championship belts with them and everything. So it's funny
Right.
watching these kids. So they enjoy it. So, we're just there hanging out, talking that's probably we talked through most of the matches. So
Well,
what
that's
we
because
saw,
I'm guessing many of them were eminently skippable.
yeah, what we saw was okay, right? Like, I mean, I'm not gonna say anything was on like the elite level in any way, but like, I mean, some of them, yeah, I was definitely, you're kind of like, oh, okay, sure, I guess that was a match, right? Some of them are good. Um, uh, Overall, I mean, I get it. Like, I think I'm assuming the WWE fans went away happy, but then I've heard polarizing things today about apparently the Roman Reigns win, and the funny part is we all joked like, listen, I'm not a big Cody fan, and everyone loves Cody in WWE. I get it. It's fine. It's okay. So when Reigns won, I actually cheered. I was actually shocked.
Hmm.
I don't get shocked like because we could pretty much call all the matches, like especially WWE. We know how to call the matches. We're like, okay, who this person's gonna win. This person's gonna win. This person's
Hmm.
gonna win. This was the one where I was like, are you kidding me? Like they made a whole deal about Cody Rhodes and his dad not being able to win his big WrestleMania moment. And then he loses. His family's at ringside. He showed his daughter for the first time. He gave -1 his belts. -1 was there. And I didn't even realize it until they announced, oh, that's Brody Lee Jr. or whatever they called him, right? I was like, holy crap, that's -1, right? And he
Exactly.
gave him his belt. And yeah, it was again, I'm not gonna lie, the show itself, like I go there to make fun of a lot of stuff. So like when Shane McMahon showed up as a surprise guest, I laughed. I laughed out loud. And then when Shane McMahon tried to wrestle and then tore his quad, I'm sorry, I don't like laugh at people's
No,
injuries,
that's
but
it's not funny that he got injured, but the
no.
fact that those were the sequence of events, just
Oh
the yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to sit here and laugh out loud,
no,
but yeah,
and that's
that's
the
a
thing. We
very
like we
interesting
were
sequence
saying,
of events.
yeah,
Yeah.
we were saying we don't want to laugh out loud either, but we've heard about Shane McMahon and some of the stuff he does, and the fact that he had to come in and wrestle, and then literally tore his quad like his father tore his quad. If you don't guys don't remember that, his dad. So people were saying like father, like son. And then watching Snoop Dogg, who actually was at the event,
Oh Lord.
call an audible because no one knew what to do when it happened. So he ended up punching the Miz. He said, "Hey, you hurt my friend." He punches the Miz, and then you see the referee say, "People's elbow," and he he pulls off like the worst people's elbow. But I'll give him credit. He actually he tried to recover from that segment because Shane McMahon suddenly disappeared from the ring. And
Right,
they
right.
focused on the Miz just running around, and it's like he didn't know what to do because you actually visibly see Shane McMahon kind of he jumps up, hits the ground, collapses, tries to
Hmm.
get up, collapses again, and then the camera just kind of focuses on the Miz, and you're like, oh,
Oh
he's
man,
out,
poor guy
he's
though.
out, yeah,
Poor guy.
he's out,
Ouch.
yeah.
That's too
So
bad.
yeah, I mean, people went home unhappy. The wrestling or the WWE wrestling world is there. I've heard people say I'm canceling WWE. I'm like, but what's different than before? I'm so confused. It's like
Hmm.
what's different? I don't get it,
Not
right?
much
So
is different. I mean, we'll be talking about that on the news segment. So,
oh
you
god,
know.
so yeah, it's so like it's not it wasn't a good weekend for leg injuries, I should say.
Right.
Um,
Oh no, this is very true because we'll be getting to
mhm,
that as well,
mhm.
right? Because I mean, what we do here on these Mondays is we do look at the news, which this week will involve leg injuries and a little bit
Oh,
on WWE. We don't talk about them much, but today we're going to briefly mention them. And then we're going to look at, you know, the AEW Roundup. Krishna will bring to us. I'm going to give you the report from Japan, which today will focus exclusively on the greatest promotion in professional wrestling, Stardom World Wonder Ring. And then we will give our match of the week and wrestler of the week. So shall we get into the news? Because we
let's get into it.
we have a lot to cover today. So WWE was sold, not to the Saudis.
I know.
That's a good thing.
That's a good
They
thing.
were Yes, they were sold to Endeavor, the company that owns UFC and a whole bunch of other entertainment stuff. Endeavor, they're kind of combining the two into one juggernaut company.
Mhm.
The UFC side with Endeavor gets 51%, WWE the other 49% of the new combined company. The entire thing is subject to regulatory approval. Nick Khan will remain as the president of WWE, Dana White as the president of UFC, and Vince McMahon stays on as chair of the board and will remain involved in creative. What a shock! He's involved in creative. So I don't give a rat's ass about any of that stuff, but I have one question. What do we think the impact on AEW will be from this merger?
So I think this is gonna force AEW to step it up a bit. You know what I mean? Okay, let's be real. Like this is a powerhouse company, Endeavor. Like what I've read about them and seen. Apparently they like remember how we were like the Saudis. This seems like a perfect fit for WWE because they have no soul. Um, now I'm not saying that the Saudi deals are canceled. Like those events they have there because that
Mm,
still didn't draw lots of money, but Endeavor has been one of those companies who have given money back to the Saudis when the Saudis have tried to pay them for stuff. Like, hey, bring your, and they say no, right?
mm.
Based on things. So glimmer of hope there, right? But again, Endeavor, you still have Dana White employed as the face of UFC after didn't like he slapped his wife like a couple months ago. It's like, dude, come on, right? But
Yes, but do we
again,
do we fire a man for one mistake? I mean,
no, but
I'm
it's not his.
deviating there, but if he's apologized and come out and said that, he's blah blah, I mean, I think people are entitled to a mistake and a rethink. We don't just need to fire everyone for a slip,
I
right?
I I agree, but I mean, how many mistakes are we talking about here, right? He's had
Apparently one.
multiple occasions where yeah, that's one that I've mentioned, right? I mean, he's had multiple occasions where he's gone out of line, done things he probably
Well,
should
yeah,
not
I
have
mean,
done.
his public speaking is a different thing entirely, representing his company, and that is a lot more legitimate reason to fire a guy
Yeah,
than one mistake on a New Year's Eve that both he and his wife have said they're working on, right?
yeah.
Firing him for that would be ridiculous. Firing him though for some of the things he's said over the years, yeah, okay, like that might be a little more appropriate. But anyway, we have wandered off topic, so.
But in terms of WWE and stuff like that, it's like what's the thought is that even though Vince still owns like but Vince the WWE own 49%. When those shares go public or they get handed over, Vince's control in the company actually gets reduced, right? In terms of like you know how he has like the voting power to kind of get him back as like a chair or
Hmm.
something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That no
yeah.
longer that no longer exists. So it's one of those things where it kind of seems like Vince is actually going to be on his way out, because from the reports I've been hearing from Sean Ross Sapp, is that Triple H is actually been confirmed as the creative, still in WWE, but and they're saying Vince is not a part of this. But again, things I'm gonna wait to see. I don't know.
Well, that contradicts a little of what Meltzer was talking about. So,
Mhm.
with Vince signing a new employment
Yeah,
contract
the 2 year
and
contract.
being,
Yeah,
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 and being
yeah.
involved in creative, and he was on the headset backstage during WrestleMania. Anyone who thinks this man will either one stay out of WWE and two
No,
not be involved in creative is dreaming. He will claw to hang
his way
on
back.
to
Yeah, yeah.
every
Oh yeah,
shred of everything that he can. It's in his nature. So, yeah,
yeah.
anyway.
And I mean,
But
like, I mean, the impact to AEW and to
there
the
you
other
go.
promotions. I I hope it's positive. I hope it's positive. I mean, I hope it drives the other businesses to, like, come out and compete. Like, no longer say that they're just these alternative. Like, come out and compete with these guys, right? Just because they got, again, a little bit more money in their pockets now, and they have like all these, like, they have the backing of this big company. I mean, Tony Khan's is a a rich guy too, right? I mean, I know I don't know if he has a corporation or anything, like a billion-dollar corporation. He probably does. But like, I think it's good. I think it's good competition. I think, if they are able to clean up some of the garbage from WWE, maybe some direct competition here and there. Maybe people will, like, have a choice now where they want to go, right? Like the wrestlers, because we know some wrestlers want to go back to WWE. We know some wrestlers want to come over here, but there's just been a bidding war. I hate saying bidding war, but people just are trying to find what the best place is, right? And I,
Right,
and
right.
I hate to say, like, New Japan's not getting anything, or anyone else, but it's like, I'm just hoping for just better, like a better product for all together. Like, I'm just hoping, that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for some, like, if WWE can somehow compete with AEW on the quality, that's great. That's great. Like, that would be amazing, right? But I mean, the kids that I spoke about just earlier, in terms of my friends' kids who love WWE, even said when they watched Kenny Omega versus Vikingo, they didn't want to watch it. They didn't, and their dad kind of made them watch it, and they're like, "Yeah, that stuff, like, no one in WWE can do that stuff." And I said, "You're right. You're
Hmm.
definitely right." Like, they were so shocked, right? And like, so, and even they were like, "Oh my god, can the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega come to the WWE?" I'm like, "Hey, anything is possible. Anything is possible, but we'll see, right?" So I'm glad that at least we are getting some respect over here on the AEW side. We kind of get the quality wrestling, and watching people watch WWE stuff, and like, they squirm. They're like, "Oh my god, I can't believe they did this move." I'm like my friend, she's watching it, and I said to her, "You definitely can't watch AEW stuff because the stuff they do in AEW." And I said, "I'm not even talking about the men. I'm talking about the women.
Yep.
You would not, like, you." I said, "If you think that move, just a regular superplex off the top rope, is a crazy move you can't watch because you're afraid they're going to get hurt," I go, "You cannot watch AEW
You
ever
basically
in your
can't watch
life."
wrestling.
Well,
Like
yeah,
like
exactly.
superplex. I mean,
A
that's that's
superplex.
been that's
Safe.
been
It's safe,
that's
right?
not only
So,
that, it's been around since the 80s, man. I mean,
yeah.
like, people have been
Yeah.
doing superplexes since the 80s, so at least maybe earlier. I don't know my
Yeah.
wrestling history before the 80s that well, but yeah, I mean, no, I know, and I think that what AEW, and I said this the last time we talked about
Mhm.
this, what AEW needs to do is distinguish itself. It
100%.
doesn't need to be the WWE. It shouldn't look like the WWE. It shouldn't act like the WWE. Its plots should not duplicate the WWE, right? Like, they're already getting a little, like, sports entertainmenty in
Mhm.
places where it's sounding
Mhm.
like the Acclaim. They really sound like a WWE clone, and then dressing up the outcasts in like DX green and black, and it's just like,
Well, but the
do we
problem is
need
they're
this?
sounding more like bad WCW
Well,
is what I see, right?
that's the problem with that
Yeah.
stuff, right? Is that when you start thinking, oh, you're ripping them off. Don't rip
Mhm.
off the WWE.
No.
The stuff that's been the best. You put Omega and Vikingo out there. I mean, look, there's no one on the planet that can do what Vikingo does right
I
now.
know
Okay,
that's
he
true.
does lucha libre at a level that's just like insane. He's like the
Agreed.
best luchador out there currently, right? And all apologies to Ray Phoenix, um, but the dude is just like on another planet. The and apparently his match with Commander at ROH during like the Supercard of Honor is absolute must see.
I
Absolute
could
must see.
imagine. I can
Yeah,
imagine.
yeah. I mean, Meltzer was raving about it on the podcast, and it's just everything I've seen or heard about this match, I've got to go find a copy of. Apparently, that whole pay-per-view was stellar, but and it made me think, because I heard them talking about all the matches in the Ring of Honor show, and
Mhm.
I'm like, wow, these are all good wrestling matches and stuff, right? I'm like, is Ring of Honor going to become what I had hoped AEW would be?
Maybe.
Maybe, because if AEW continues on a sports entertainment bent, well, I mean, the stuff with the elite's good right now, but now we're going to end up in another conversation about AEW booking. But yeah, I think that if AEW is going to thrive, it needs to distinguish. Period.
Yeah. No, and but that's the answer to all or everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
To thrive, they have to distinguish themselves from the pack, right?
Yep.
And not copy and follow along suit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I'm saying. I'm hopeful this causes better competition and they smarten up and it's not like a copycat like league
Right.
where everyone's just, oh look, they did that great storyline like that. Let's copy it. All
Mm-hmm.
right. Because they can't match the wrestling. So then get better storylines. That's it. That's all you
Yep.
gotta do.
Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. And exactly. But speaking of Supercard of Honor and speaking of hurt
Mhm.
feet and speaking of all kinds of stuff, unfortunately at Supercard of Honor this on Friday, Dante Martin was injured badly. He was injured near the end of the Reach for the Sky ladder match. He had to be stretchered out after suffering. I mean, you saw the video, I saw the video,
Mhm.
terrible injury to his foot. It looked like his foot was like completely 180, like it was
Yeah.
facing the wrong direction. It was following a Canadian destroyer through a set of stacked tables on the outside. He will be out of action as per Tony Khan for quotes a while.
Mhm.
There is no word yet on the extent of the injury. Tony Khan did actually pick him up from the
Oh,
hospital.
that's awesome.
So, yeah,
That's awesome.
and Dante Martin was smiling. Um,
Okay.
and it seems like he's set on coming back. But like I said, we don't know the extent of the injury. We don't know how long he's going to.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, for the first things first is like our well wishes out to Dante. Like we've always liked Dante since the beginning. We've liked Dante, so it was terrible to see that horrific accident, and it was an accident. That's all you can really call it. I'm hoping he gets better. Like hopefully he's back. Think he's young. Thankfully he's young. He could heal. And I have confidence and full confidence he's coming back. Like there's nothing stopping this guy from coming back. He'll be back. Now, when? Maybe a year from now? I don't know. Like I can't really say, but who knows? Maybe he's got John Cena like mutant healing, right? So he'll be
He's
back
back
next
next
week,
week. Yeah.
right? So yeah. The my one concern, I spoke about this a couple weeks ago. It's kind of like I saw the spot and I keep asking, are spots like these necessary? Right? You can do other things. You can do better things if you want. But is a spot like that, like look what happened to Anna Jay. Like
Mm-hmm.
like the two spots are incomparable. But look what happened to Anna Jay,
Mm-hmm.
right? Are these worth it? Is your health worth that, right? Like I saw it and I was like, oh my goodness, he's getting a kidney destroyer from up there. And then when I saw the landing, I'm like, was that worth it?
Nope. And
Obviously,
it's
in hindsight, it's not. But
yeah, he had to land on his foot, right? That's just
yeah,
how you take the move from that height. And then it was a matter of distance.
yeah,
He
yeah.
was up too high and came down too fast.
Too fast, and
Yeah.
that's it, right? Like I mean, you practice and practice, and then just
Mm-hmm.
freak accident. Yeah.
Yep.
So overall, like I mean, it sucks. It's weird because Dante had all the time while his brother was injured, Darius, and now it's like Darius is gonna have to have a little bit of a push because Dante's injured. So now we're gonna get a lot of singles actions with Darius, or maybe Darius and AR Fox start up a tag
Could
team,
be. Could be.
right? Maybe do that for now. But
Yep.
yeah, just a terrible loss because they were such a good tag team, a good trios with AR Fox and stuff like that. It's like, oh man, Dante, it's gonna be weird not seeing you on AEW TV because he was consistently on TV,
Oh yeah,
right?
one of the hardest workers in AEW.
So it sucks that it happened.
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, well wishes. Hopefully you're back sooner than later.
Yep, 100%, 100%. Get well soon. We want you back.
Yeah.
Speaking of people who are injured, Matt Jackson, I have an injury update on him.
Mm.
Meltzer reported, and Matt Jackson confirmed on Being the Elite
BT. Yeah.
that he will not be undergoing surgery, and he's
Hmm.
headed to California for some therapy on his partially torn bicep. He hopes to be back in, as he said, weeks, not months.
Weeks.
Meltzer has quoted the timeline as 6 to 8 weeks, which should put him back hopefully before Double or Nothing.
Well, yeah, and also most importantly, puts him back before Forbidden Door. So I mean,
Yes.
yeah, I saw the Being the Elite clip where he's like he was driving with his wife, and he says his arm's feeling better,
Mhm.
but he is going to try this therapy because again he'd be out for months, whereas if he had surgery, whereas it's going to be maybe weeks, right? So that's good. Um, I'm glad. And again, I keep trying to think where he injured his bicep like that, but
Mhm.
it was during the match. Who knows? But yeah, it kind of sucks. So now he's injured. He's out for weeks. You have the whole storyline with the elites and Omega and the Bucks, right? And you're like, man, sorry, and Hangman, I should say. Um, kind of like even in Being the Elite, when Cutler was talking to Hangman and said, you guys are not going to be able to do anything until you guys get on the same page, right? And he said,
Mhm.
it's not the Bucks. I think you're on your side. It's Kenny. And then Kenny said, it's not Kenny. Sorry, not Kenny. Hangman said, it's not Kenny. It's Don. It's Don Callis, right?
Right. And then
So
I think this is the beginning of Brendan Cutler coming in to take the place of Matt Jackson for a while, and the
he
four
should.
of them, right? Right.
He's such a clown. But yeah, no, I'm interested. And again, like again, Matt Jackson doesn't need to wrestle right now, but he can be part of the storylines.
Mm-hmm.
He can be part of a storyline. So
100%.
I'm kind of I'm still excited. I hope he gets better sooner than later. Again, his injury is nothing compared to Dante's. My
Yeah, no,
God.
exactly. Yeah,
So
Dante
yeah,
is just, yeah, it's crazy.
yeah. So I'm just hoping Matt gets better. Like he's back wrestling soon because I'm looking forward to these storylines. But it always seems like when we get closer to the elites and Hangman storylines, something always happens and they have to delay it. And I'm like, wow, this is
Well, this is
crazy.
what I mean. It's what I said with Omega. Like, with Forbidden Door coming up, Omega, take it easy. I don't
Yeah.
want to see you going through tables. I don't want to see any of that stuff, right? Just take it easy, wrestle, no problem. You know, don't take a table bump like Natsuko Tora took during the Cinderella tournament, where only the middle of the table broke, but the table did not snap in half.
Oh no.
So she went through the middle of the
Oh
table.
no.
Yes. Yeah, her back looked quite scratched up, but yes. So none of that, Kenny. None of that. Okay.
But they got
Just
to continue that Blackpool Combat Club versus
right. And that's fine.
right.
They can all fight safe. They all can. They're all capable of it,
Really,
right?
really, they're gonna fight safe. Though these guys are gonna fight safe.
Look, Don, that lighting fixture.
Oh my goodness. Poor
Speaking of
Don
people who got
Callis.
injuries, poor Don Callis, yes. Number of stitch. But man, what a pro, right? Looks up at the camera with the blood on his face, even though he just took that shot to the head because,
Well, interestingly enough, last night at WrestleMania, Finn Balor got a ladder thrown at him by Edge, and I don't know if he miscalculated the ladder how fast it's flying at him, but it hit him right in the forehead and split him open. And
Jesus.
they actually, I've never heard them say this. They said the doctor is looking at Balor right now just to make sure that he's okay to continue. And you
Mhm.
actually see the doctor in the ring. And what they did was they put a numbing agent on it, then they stapled him up, and then he finished the match.
Well,
I
that's
was
because they're
like,
they're they're not supposed to be bleeding on
oh
WWE
my
TV,
goodness. Like
right?
when I talk about blood, it was Don
Hmm.
Callis level
Yeah,
bleeding. So I
yeah,
was like, oh, you guys, this is whew. Yeah, it was nuts. But I mean, like, yeah, everyone hurting themselves this weekend, guys,
yep.
take the week off. Try to get
Right.
yourself better.
Or watch Kenny and Vikingo. Watch Vikingo and
That's true.
Commander. Yeah, I mean,
That's true.
these are great matches. You don't need to go through a table to have a great match.
No,
I'm just saying.
Kenny went
Even
through the
though
table.
injuries can happen in any match, but
Kenny went through the table though, but he's nuts. So
yeah, that's true. Do you have a dirt sheet for us this week, Denai?
no, nothing dirt sheet. Like the only thing dirt sheet related that obviously the rumors people were hearing was that what's his face Switchblade was making his decision very shortly as to what obviously company he's joining, because they said that the thing with Switchblade is that, again, I'm not a big fan, so I don't care.
The man we all forgot about. You went a
Yeah,
Switchblade. I'm like,
yeah,
oh yeah, Jay
Switchblade, yeah,
White,
yeah,
right?
is the fact that, you know, the whole thing about him distancing himself from New Japan, right? The company, it kind of seems like he should go to if he really wants to distance himself from New Japan, because that's kind of what he's been saying is probably WWE,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because they don't have a
100%.
working relationship, right? So the rumors are he is potentially he's probably making his arrival very shortly to WWE, but again, he wrestles a WWE style, so I get it. Like
Yeah.
it's like put me to sleep. I'm so tired of this style of wrestling. Um, and if he does, whatever. And if he joins AEW, I'm just I again, I don't know where he would fit. I just don't understand where he would fit in that roster.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. But apparently, very shortly, he's going to be making a decision.
You ready for my epic comment on this?
Yeah.
Yay, good for him.
Good for him. It's like, whatever.
Yes.
And apparently Tony Khan made a comment about it when he was asked, I think probably in the meteor scrum,
Oh yeah.
about this. And he said, and he kind of alluded to, you wouldn't want to go to a company that has a working relationship with another company you don't want to be with.
Bingo. Thank you.
So
So that pretty much tells the whole story there. Thank you,
yeah, so
Tony.
I'm feeling
Tony, you made the right choice. You got Juice
I know.
Robinson, but not Jay White.
Not Jay White. I agree. I totally
Yes.
agree with that.
You have made the correct decision. Congratulations, Tony. I like Jay White. I think he can cut a good promo. I don't dislike the guy. I'm just like you. I'm not in love with his wrestling. It's
Yeah.
not bad wrestling.
It's not
It's
great
just
wrestling.
I'm not in love with it. It's
Yeah.
okay. Anyway, so that brings us then, speaking of Tony Khan, there's my cheap ass segue to the AEW Roundup.
Cool. So I had my notes open for some reason. They're all gone. Let me just open it up again. Oh, there we
Nothing
go.
happened in AEW
Nothing
this
happened
week.
in AEW. It was boring, you know. Things happen. So Dark Elevation. I two matches to check out actually on here. I put down SAP, so the Spanish Announce Project, versus Hardy, Cassidy, and Page. Now, here's the weird thing, because I've expressed my love for the Hardy, Cassidy, Page trio. It was Stokely and everything. I don't want them to break up, but obviously you've seen what's been happening, right? You've seen obviously they kind of conned Stokely into fighting Hook, and then on Rampage they kind of con Page. But I'm like, no, just don't do it to Page. Like he's so like, listen, I want to see Ethan Page dance to the Hardy Boys music for now and forever. Okay, I just want to see. It's just hilarious. But them versus the Spanish Announce Project, like it was a great match, great trios match. Like everyone was like got to shine, and Helico, I just don't know what they're doing with this guy. He's so good.
Yeah.
You stuck him with these other people here. No offense to Serpentico and Luther, but really,
Dude, Serpentico.
Sir Pentico. Like at this point, I'm like, please bring back Jack Evans. Please just rehire him and put them back together. Like oh, I miss them together. Anyways, good match. I put this other match on here not because it was like the best, but just because, you know, it was Diamante versus Riho. There was just something about this match, and it was good. It was good, but it was good where it could have been great, and it just felt a little off. There were some things I'm like, Rio doesn't really miss much, but that looked like a miss, and it could just be her communication and I'm not blaming it on her. I'm just saying her working with Diamante, right? Because I think Diamante is a great wrestler as well. Like she does a good job. Another woman that everyone forgets about that works for AEW, who's not part of this, you know, are the
Women's
originals. Yeah,
division, it seems. Yes.
yeah. But a good match. Check it out. And then I had to put down Athena, and I totally forgot the girl she first faced it against. But Athena, I just love her new. Well, not it's not new. This is who she's been for a while now. Like this the heel persona, right? She at the end of the match, she starts helping the girl outside the ring, and I'm like, why is she helping the person outside the ring? And even I think it was Paul White was like, this is really good sportsmanship, and she gets her to the ring apron, and then just drops her on the ring apron. I was like, oh my god, so hilarious. But then obviously Emi Sakura came out to kind of challenge for whatever. And I'm not the biggest Emi Sakura fan, but she's a great wrestler, so I'll give her credit where credit's due. So yeah, so they're setting that up. And again, Athena makes me laugh so much, because she is like that, that heel. There's that she tries to trick everybody, thinks she's good, but she's really not. She's still total heel. But yeah, check that match out. Jumping over to Dark, two matches I just want to call out quickly. Liam Gray and Adrian Alanis, that's his name, yeah, versus Top Flight. Unfortunately, one of Dante Martin's like last matches before he hurt himself. Great match, like just a great match between all four guys, like Top Flights, like Liam Gray and Adrian Alanis. I've never seen them before.
Yeah, I'm not
but
familiar.
yeah, but they did well. They did well. Again, Top Flight obviously won the match. It was the high flying, like just the same moves that they normally do, but it was really fun to watch them do their counters. And then also on Dark, if you want to check this match out, Cole Carter versus Konosuke Takeshita. It was a good match. Cole Carter, he's a young guy. Obviously, he's quick, but he doesn't move quick all the time. Like, you know how Takeshita can go if he wants, he can go. So the match was kind of a little bit slower, had some fast spots, but like there were some reversals on here where like I was like, wait, is Takeshita gonna lose this match? What the heck, right?
Right.
Because Cole Carter was like reversing stuff and like laying into Takeshita. I was like, wow, that was a pretty cool move. But yeah, it was a good match. And I think the reason why is because I saw this match, but I also saw the Rampage. And there's another Takeshita match on Rampage, which was obviously blowing this one out of the water. So really, it didn't really matter. So let's just jump to Rampage and talk about that then.
Okay.
So Rampage, Sammy Guevara versus Konosuke Takeshita. What a match. Sammy Guevara is absolutely amazing. And Takeshita, like I just said, Takeshita faced off against Cole Carter. The match was good. It was good. Sammy Guevara versus Takeshita. Match was fantastic. These two guys, my goodness. Like, does Sammy make mistakes? Like, no. I have to ask a question. Does he make mistakes?
Let's see. I tried to come up with something amusing and couldn't. No.
Besides his backstage antics, everyone calls him out on. No.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
This guy does not make mistakes. And Takeshita, from what I see, he doesn't make it either, right? These two guys, like this match was absolutely fantastic on Rampage. Like if you had to check out one match from all the ones I showed you so far, this is a match I'd obviously point you to check out. Then on Rampage, the Kings of Black Throne versus the Best Friends. Interesting match. I like this match. This match was good. I like the obviously Brody King and Malachi versus the Best Friends, because like Trent and Chuck Taylor are good wrestlers. Like Trent obviously better, but you know, they're good wrestlers and they're a good tag team. So watching them against like the Kings of the Black Throne, like they did well, but obviously there was no way they were getting crushed. Like I thought this was an interesting match, because if you notice, everyone got disqualified in this match. Everyone. And I'm like, I've never seen that in AEW ever. So these are like, if you watch WWE, it always happens, but like this never happens. So when this happens here, I'm like, okay, that's an interesting finish, right? I love that they power bombs Chuck Taylor into the table, and then he gets that this is Brody King. Then King gets hit in the back by a chair from I forget his name. Trent. Yeah, Trent. And then Trent, at first I thought Malachi threw the chair at him, but he kicks the chair into his face and black masks the chair into his face. And I'm like, they're so cool. And of course, then they start beating them up some more, and Orange Cassidy comes out for the save, but Orange Cassidy gets destroyed by Buddy. I love when he blocked with the belts. Like he goes for the orange punch, he blocks it with the belt, and then they just destroy the rest of
Yeah.
them. That's gonna be a cool. That's the cool trios. You know, getting away from the elite. Now
Yes.
these guys. That's a good choice. Good
Mhm.
choice. And then Juice Robinson versus Action Andretti. This is an odd one, and this is and I want your opinion on this. Do you think AEW has dropped the ball with Action Andretti?
Yes.
Okay, and that's what I wanted to know, because I feel the same way, right? Juice Robinson, and they've kind of dropped the ball with Juice Robinson as well, but we won't get into that. But like Juice Robinson, I love this guy. He's so funny and he's such a good wrestler. But like he's facing off against Action Andretti. You know, Juice Robinson is facing Ricky Starks, so there's no way Juice Robinson is losing this match, right? But then
Right.
you put him up against Action Andretti, who beat Chris Jericho, and then his suddenly he wins some matches on Dark, but he's been losing recently. I'm like, how is this helping his character in any way? Like you're feeding him as a jobber right now. Besides that, the match itself was actually pretty good. Like, I mean, Action Andretti is really good. Juice is awesome. Juice, I
Yep.
love the way that Juice sells. He's such a good seller, and I love his interaction with everybody. But I get the finish. I understand it. I understand the finish, but doesn't mean I agree with it, because it really doesn't progress Action Andretti in any way. And it kind of just says, hey, Juice, you're fighting next week, and we forgot about hyping you guys up for a long time. So here, have some matches quickly, right? So yeah, it's both sides kind of weak. I mean, judging by the match itself, the match was great. Judging by the story, well, not so much, right? So I mean,
Yeah.
I'll leave it as that. But I mean that was my roundup from Rampage, Dark, and Elevation. Like Elevation and Dark had some other okay matches, but I mean, like, I want to choose the
Yeah.
better ones.
And to go to your point about Action Andretti, I mean, you can say that about a few guys that have come in, right? Because they've got the ability to build some really big stars, and stars that the audience wants them to win. Action Andretti beats Chris Jericho. That makes him an instant star. Instant star. And then they did nothing with it.
Nothing.
And the guy isn't even that bad on the mic. I mean, he needs some work, but he doesn't suck. So get him out there, get him in front, have him win. He doesn't have to beat a guy at Jericho status again, but he should be winning matches, not just buried on Dark. Konosuke Takeshita. You have one of the best professional wrestlers on the face of the planet in Konosuke Takeshita. And he almost never wins, especially if it's a like Rampage or Dynamite match. The dude just never wins. And I mean, there's eventually a point where the audience will lose interest. They'll see him as a guy who's just never going to win a match. So
you know, it's funny.
thing.
It's bad things, but it's funny. Like I must give a quick shout out this week also to Ryan Nemeth. If anyone's watched Being the Elite this week, he actually had me in tears laughing at his jokes he was telling on stage, like walking and saying to Tony Khan, "I demand the Dolph Ziggler contract and the money attached to it," and Tony Khan saying, "I can give you half of that contract." Obviously alluding to the fact that Dolph Ziggler loses all his matches. And then the whole I'm the type of wrestler that when you wrestle, when you come into the ring with me and you have a pretty good win-loss record, by the end of the match, you're gonna have a better win-loss record. So,
Right. I just loved his opening thing, right? So I signed a new contract with AEW. Quite happy about that, except for the fact that it's I only get paid if I win my matches.
If I win my matches, that was awesome. I only get paid if I win, and I love that the crowd just starts laughing because they know it's true.
Yeah,
but good on him. I like him. I like when like characters like him can do other things, because like it kind of sucks. All he does is lose. That's literally all he does, right? So
exactly. Oh well, there you go. So that was AEW this week, and I had mentioned I spent the weekend watching wrestling. Do you know why?
Did.
I did, because they put up the New Blood Premium, the whole show now. Remember last week I was complaining they put it up, but it was only the YouTube portions of it. And it was like weird. Well, the whole show's up now. So Okay, so they put that, but then the Cinderella tournament went up, and it was all of the matches up to the end of the quarterfinals. So buckle up. We have a hell of a lot to talk about
All
from
right.
Japan. And it's all started. But before we get into that, I'm just going to back up one quick moment and say, you were talking about who Liam Gray is?
Yeah.
Yeah, and his buddy Adrian, whatever his name is,
Alanis.
Adrian. That's it. Thank you, Adrian Alanis. Well, they both went to the WWA4 wrestling school, where their trainer was Mr. A.R. Fox. They
Oh.
spent a little bit of time in NXT as well. Alanis has been in AEW before. I think they both worked in AEW back 2021 and fought against SCU apparently. So they've been around a bit, but they are proteges of one A.R. Fox, which there you go.
Where's Scorpio Sky? You just said SCU.
I know, right? Where is Scorpio Sky? That is a great
Oh
question.
man.
Yep. Oh, and just for the record, too, Mr. Konosuke Takeshita did win at ROH Supercard of Honor, and what it was apparently a stellar match against Willie Mack.
See, I'm telling you, Willie Mack,
Yep.
guys.
Yeah. I've got to watch this show, man. There's just a Katsuyori Shibata tore apart Wheeler Yuta.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost a squash match.
Really, eh?
Yeah, just devastated the guy. And apparently the Castagnoli Kingston match was also really good. The ladder match was out of sight. I mean, it was just this whole thing sounded like it was just such a good pay-per-view. I'm gonna have to check it out. But anyway, to get to Stardom, um, well, before I get into the Cinderella tournament, Kairi did an interview with WrestlingNews.co and noted that she is a free agent. She
Like
said
for real, or is this like a work?
oh, I think it's for real because she said she'd love to work in WWE
I
because
thought.
she'd love to do some matches with Asuka and Sky,
Oh, Io
Io
Sky.
Shirai. Yeah.
Yeah.
Her favorite show is the Royal Rumble. But she also noted that she would like to work with Saraya, Jamie Hayter, and Tony Storm.
So
So there
she's
you
just looking
go.
for a contract. Is that what she's trying to do?
I guess she was on the New Blood Premium show where I really liked her biker gimmick that she came out in. It was different than the usual pirate thing, and she was with Nene Takahashi. They make a great tag team. It was the best I'd seen Kairi look in a very long time. I was into this character shift, but Anyway, Cinderella tournament. Just so you guys know, in the tournament, all matches are 10-minute time limit. A draw eliminates both wrestlers. You can also win by throwing your opponent over the top rope, Royal Rumble style, and both feet have to hit the floor.
Okay.
Okay. So, because there are a lot of matches. Ready, set, go. First off, I suck at brackets. So I planned my whole bracket out for this tournament. I said Hazuki was going to win this tournament, blah, blah, blah. I only got 10 out of 18 matches in the first round correct. My bracket is now thoroughly, thoroughly busted by the time we're into the final four. So, yeah, I suck at brackets. Round one, we had Lady C taking on X, and the X turned out to be Waka Tsukiyama, who won a match at New Blood Premium,
Oh.
saving herself in Cosmic Angels. She tagged with Tam against Nene and Kairi. And she managed to pin Nene Takahashi in that match. And, it was a big emotional affair, lots of tears, lots of hugs from her teammates. And she begged to stay in Cosmic Angels, and Tam said yes. So Waka then came out as the X against Lady C. Waka actually won. Not surprising, given that was her first match after the win. Lady C was pissed at the ref. I was surprised because Lady C's been getting a bit of a push recently, but she lost in the first round. Saya Ida defeated Miyu Amasaki. I got that one right. Ami Sorai defeated Yuna Mizumori. This was a good, strong match. I continue to be impressed with Ami. God's Eye in general is a faction that's growing on me because I guess that they're like the not bad Blackpool Combat Club of Stardom, right? I mean, they fight.
So they're the good. Well, I mean,
They're
Blackpool
like the
Combat Club.
non-heel version of a Blackpool Combat Club, right? They're just
Okay.
they
Okay.
fight. They're there to fight. They're there to win, and they have a lot of heart. Then a match that I was like, okay, this is going to be great. Starlight Kid taking on Haruka Umasaki, and I'm like, okay, so I finally get to see some Starlight Kid singles matches because there's no way she's losing this match, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Double elimination.
Double elimination.
Yep, both of them, who are both good wrestlers. I really like both of them. This was a lot of fun, but the ending, good fast match, and they both went over the top rope.
Double elimination.
Double
All right.
elimination.
Okay. Okay.
Then the other X turns out to be a wrestler named, are you ready for this?
Mhm.
Xena
Like
with
the
an
River
X.
Princess.
X, yes. Actually dressed in black and gold gear for this match. She is the newest member of the worst faction in professional wrestling. Worse than the House of Torture. You heard it here first. The prime nomination for my worst faction of the year, Club Venus. You know, Mina Shirakawa and her accordion music. Yeah, that Club Venus. Anyway,
Worst,
she was
eh?
announced as the newest wrestler. So now it's Zaya Brookside, Xena, Mariah May, and Mina Shirakawa make up this lovely little group. Um, she has a solid move set, and her finisher is a gut buster. This was also the best match I've seen Hina wrestle. I mean, Hina's quite young and the most inexperienced of the three sisters that all wrestle in Stardom. Xena beat her with the gut buster and moved on, and I'm like, oh great, another wrestler in Club Venus, just what I need. And then of course the very next match was Mariah May, another member of Club Venus, taking on Rena, Hina's sister, and Rena's much better. She's an Oedo Tai, and she has a lot more personality in the ring. She did really well in this match, but Mariah May still beat her. I hate Club Venus. You're going to hear that a lot from me. I hate Club Venus. Then Saki Kashima took on Momo Kogo. And Momo Kogo, being a member of Stars, kind of a lower, mid roster type person, new gear and music. And she fought really hard, but the end came when she went for a fisherman. But Saki Kashima, one of the greatest professional wrestlers in the world today, reversed it into the Kishi Kisai, which is the most dangerous move in professional wrestling. It's her flash pin move, and she won with the 3.
Like a flash pin? Like what do you mean? Like it's a
It's kind of a wrap up like crucifix almost.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say it was just so you're thinking
Crucifix
of like a
pin. Yeah,
pin.
it's
Okay,
it's like
got it.
yeah, it's a pinning maneuver called the Kishi Kasai, and
All
she
right.
won. It's one of her finishing moves. She wins a lot of matches with this. Momo gets frustrated and cries, but I loved it because Saki Kashima won. It was a decent little match. Mirai defeated Hanan. Now I recommend this match. If you're going to check out some of the matches, this is one I would say go find it. Decent little match from round 1. Hanan came out strong. Mirai worked over her arm. Mirai almost got dumped off the turnbuckle at one point. Then Hanan locked in an arm bar on the apron. She tried to drop kick her off, but Mirai held on and got back in the ring. That was a pretty cool spot. Hanan applied an arm bar, but Mirai finally made it to the ropes after a good struggle. Mirai landed an STO. She tried to get her up, but her arm gave out, like, because she's been worked on so much. She finally got her up and slammed her, but Hanan kicked out. Hanan hit a fireman carry pin for 2. They went back and forth. Hanan hitting a famouser for 2, and I mean like famouser off the top rope. She then went for a belly to back suplex, but Mirai locked on the Miramare and rolled her to the center of the ring. Hanan struggled. The Miramare is a Kimura clutch, and Hanan tapped out. But it was a darn good little match. I mean, all of these, don't forget, are under 10 minutes.
10 minutes, yeah.
So they're all flying by pretty fast. They've got to put on a good match and a good story in a very short period of time. This was solid. Mirai continues to impress me. Yeah, so and it was a good showing by Hanan too, who's like the other of the 3 sisters. So all 3 of the sisters are now eliminated, but she's the best of them and the oldest, and quite a good little wrestler, and hopefully we'll get bigger and better things. Tekla defeated Koguma. They toy with each other. There was a lot of taunting. This match was a little bit more fun, it kind of changed the pace up a little bit, but they're both quite fast wrestlers too. And Tekla got Koguma with a roll up. There were some cool spots. They shake and actually hug after the match in spite of being in different factions. Natsuko Tora defeated Ruaka. This was the young upstart in Oedo Tai, essentially taking on the leader, and she gave it everything. There was lots of cheating by both of them. Natsuko Tora blew mist in Ruaka's face. I've never seen her use the mist before, and she probably shouldn't again because you could barely see the mist. There was just stuff all over Ruaka's face.
Oh.
Yes, they need to learn to do the mist better. Tora beat her, though, with a diving senton for 3, but after the match, in spite of the fact they killed each other during the match, they go up together and they both give because they're also a tag team, BMI 2000, right? So it was tag partners fighting in addition to being faction members. So it was clear they were just fine. This is just how you fight no Tai. So Suri defeated Tomoko Inaba. Inaba rejects the handshake at the beginning. Now, Inaba is a member of God's Eye as well. This was a great hard-hitting match, though. The kicks they each deliver were unreal. Shuri won with the White Tiger, and they hug after the match. I would have liked to see a little more drama in this match, but because it was so short, I want to see these two get like a good long time to go at it. But yeah, it's very much just like two people killing each other with kicks. Now, here we go. Azumi taking on Hazuki. Okay, now I had predicted Hazuki was going to win. You know, I love both these women. They are some of my favorite wrestlers. Well, double elimination. So Starlight Kid's out, Hazumi's out, Hazuki's out. But I have to recommend this match. It was great except for the finish. I mean, they
Double
shook to start.
elimination.
Big high-speed pin exchange to start. Azumi almost got Hazuki on the last one. They battle. Hazuki hits a vertical suplex. Azumi then almost dumps Hazuki over the top rope, but she recovers. Azumi kicks her down, goes for Hazuki's trademark face washes on Hazuki, but Hazuki drop kicks her on the running part before hitting the face washes of her own. She hits a shotgun drop kick, locks on a crossface until Azumi reaches the ropes. I mean, then it gets like cool. There's Azumi lands a La Mystica, which is like this cool, like around the back armbar from the air. Obviously a lucha move, but Hazuki crawls to the ropes. Azumi rolls out and almost dumps Hazuki over the ropes again, but they battle on the apron and both fall to the floor. And I want to cry. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? I mean, really good match. I'd recommend watching it, but really? And then we have Mai Sakurai taking on Julia. And this is another faction versus faction member. Mai Sakurai being like one of the youngest members of Donna Del Mundo. And she beats Julia with
Like,
over the top rope.
okay, I was gonna say like clean, like
So
just
she did not pin her or submit her. She attacks Julia during her entrance, actually, like just came up behind her, hurls her into the chairs, then into the ring post, and the match was on. I mean, like I've never seen Mai Sakurai act like this, and there was a reason for it. Anyway, Julia got the advantage though during the match, landing an avalanche tiger and a brutalizer, but she went for the glorious buster. Mai dumps her onto the apron. Julia pulls her out. They fight on the apron and fall to the floor, but Julia had pulled Mai through the middle rope. So it wasn't an over the top, and Mai Sakurai wins the match. And then she grabs a microphone. She was the only one grabbing mics after her matches. And she's like, I just won against Julia. And she calls the crowd a bunch of commoners and tells them to remember what she did today. So then we get Mina Shirakawa taking on Natsupoi. And you know how much I love Natsupoi. And you know how much I dislike Mina Shirakawa as the leader of Club Venus. Well, double elimination. So there goes Natsupoi. But they cut off Mina's entrance before she could pose with her crew. I loved that part. Like she's getting in the ring with the rest of Club Venus, and because like they're trying to rush these matches along because there's so many of them, they cut before they do their pose and go to Natsupoi's entrance. I'm like, yes. I'd much rather watch Natsupoi come to the ring anyway. But the match was actually pretty good. Even though I have now the match was actually pretty good. I almost lost my notes there. I'm like, what's going on here? They slapped each other after the match, though. Mina offers her hand, but it's clear they are not friendly, even though technically Club Venus is like a sub-faction in Cosmic Angels. Like Mina Shirakawa's relationship with the rest of the Cosmic Angels is somewhat in question. So then we get Saya Kamatani versus Mayu Iwatani, two of the best wrestlers in Stardom. Do you want to guess how this match ends, Krishna? Take a stab.
Okay, I'm gonna say double DQ.
You are correct. Double elimination. You are right. The end came when Saya put Mayu on her shoulders, but Mayu countered it with a Hurricane Rana, and both get dumped over the top rope to the floor. Saya throws a bit of a tantrum on the outside. The match was pretty good. I mean, my God, these two women are so good, right? But yeah, a little short for my taste for these two. Momo Watanabe defeated Maika. I would recommend this match. This was another really solid match. Both women hit each other with some great moves during this. Momo targeted Maika's arm, which seriously weakened her offense. She nailed it with like kicks and other moves, like wrenching it in the ropes and that kind of stuff. The end came when they ended up on the apron. Momo nails her with a diving Samato, Meteora, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the word Samato, but you know, the double knees off the top to a prone opponent. Nails her with that on the apron, and then this knocks Maika to the floor, and so Momo wins that way. Very good match. Momo weakening Maika's main weapon, her lariats and like her power moves and stuff by going after the arm was good. Risky, high payoff finish. I'd recommend watching this one too. Really good match for the kind of length that these matches are. Then we get Utami Hayashishita taking on Nene Takahashi, and it ends in a time limit draw. So both are eliminated.
Oh my God.
So basically, these two women just decided to kill each other for 10 minutes. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. They just went at it and like hit each other with everything, and it ends in a draw. I would love to see these two get a real time, get real time in a match at some point. Um, then we had the final match of round one, Tam Nakano taking on Himeka. Now, this was not part of Himeka's retirement tour. Okay. I'm just putting that out there. Okay. We're not getting any retirement tour matches this week. I'm sorry. I know you were looking forward to them.
Darn it.
I know. But this was my match of the night for round one. Himeka blocked an early arm drag, shoulder tackles Tam down, lariats her into the corner, followed by a backbreaker and a single leg crab. Like she's going after Tam's back big time. She transitions it into the high angle Boston crab, almost a lion tamer, but not quite, when Tam crawls to the ropes. But her back's damaged, right? So she fights back, goes for a head scissors, but then Himeka just power bombs her. Tam rolls out of the ring, but Himeka hits her with a running lariat from the ramp. Like she went all the way up the ramp and just charged down and destroyed her with a lariat, right? It was pretty cool. Tam fights out of a power slam attempt, though, hits a drop kick on the floor and then a diving cross body to the floor, rolls her back in the ring, but Himeka catches her on the turnbuckle. She fights out of an avalanche follow-away slam and hits an avalanche back suplex to Himeka, but Himeka blocks the follow-up German, dodges the running knee, hitting two successive lariats and basically what looks like a reverse Falcon Arrow for two. She set Tam up for the power bomb. You know, she uses that running power bomb to finish, but Tam counters a pin, rolling her up for two, then hitting two roundhouse kicks. They exchange strikes. I mean, Himeka selling these roundhouse kicks like a champ, too. They exchange strikes. Tam hits a German suplex, then a roundhouse, a drop kick, two violet shootings, and gets a near fall. She then lands a huge delayed violet screwdriver for three. That's her big finisher that she can only pulls out really if she needs to. Solid match of the night for the round one. Longer match would have been great. They went at it like hard for the time they had. Tam's selling is amazing. Himeka is just such a powerhouse. Tam helps her up though at the end of the match, holding her hand and whispers something to her. And then she gets a mic and closes the show. The line of the night was, she tells the crowd, "Your butts must be hurting because you sat in your seats for so long," noting the length of the show. Well, that brings us to round 2 and 3, which I will go through quickly. We got Mirai. She continues to move forward. She defeated Saida, so there goes poor Saida. They pound the heck out of each other, but the end came when Mirai countered Saya into a fireman carry slam and the Miramare shock for 3. Hard-hitting, solid stuff. Xena defeated Tekla. I hate Club Venus. I hate them. Not a terrible match.
They're so unstoppable. Is that why you hate them?
Well, Mina's out. Their leader got eliminated. Not a terrible match, but I hate Club Venus. Xena won with the Gutbuster. Tekla's great, and I hate Club Venus. Then Mai Sakurai took on Mariah May, the other member of Club Venus, still in the tournament, and she defeated her with over the top rope. Yes. This match was okay, though, a little sloppy in spots. I cheered, though, when she was eliminated because, are you ready for this? I hate Club Venus. But then Mai cuts another promo. Now, this time they put up a thing on the screen with the subtitles that noted that she is speaking in an upper class Japanese dialect used in the early Showa era in Japan. That is meant to be like her tone is speaking down to the crowd. Okay, so she's using words and expressions and stuff that really she's trying to, I'm like, so, and she goes, "That hussy was just conquered by your ladyship." She tells the audience they're all commoners that only eat frozen gyoza, which is like, dumplings for those of you who.
It's an insult, like the rest of us in Western.
Yeah, you eat frozen gyoza. And then because she's going to the hot springs and she's going to eat gold leaf covered gyoza. The crowd finds this hysterical. They are laughing their asses off and applauding her. So this was quite a little bit of a sports entertainment style promo by Mai Sakurai, and I'm finding this new character of hers funny as hell and interesting. She keeps winning by dumping people over the top. Natsuko Tora defeated Tam Nakano with over the top rope. Yep. The match was okay. It was lots of Oedo Tai cheating, though. I mean, it was basically the whole faction against poor Tam. The end came when Starlight Kid had the ref distracted and Tora hit Tam in the head with the case and then throws her out of the ring for the win. So some decent moves. I can't say this match really blew my mind.
Fair
But
enough.
this next one, buckle up.
All
Because
right.
this came very close to taking my match of the week.
Okay.
Okay, very, very close. It is Saki Kashima versus Syuri. Okay. Saki Kashima is deathly afraid of Syuri. This is an ongoing story in Stardom. She is deathly afraid of Syuri. Okay. Syuri comes out in a new flowing white robe over her red gear. I really like it. It's a much cooler look for her. Saki, though, does her music hits. She doesn't come out. No one's coming out, right? So, they're all like, what's going on? Music keeps playing. So Syuri goes to the back. She comes back dragging Saki to the ring, like dragging her. Saki then cowers in the corner, like almost in fetal position, sitting up, and she just looks terrified, on the verge of tears. She doesn't want to get up and fight. None of her confidence is there, right? She's just hiding, like she cowers like a frightened child. She just like Syuri walks over and just stares Saki down in the corner, and Saki's like hiding her face away from her like a little kid, right? Les, please don't, Mr. Apple Music. That's good. Thank you, Apple Music. I don't know why that activated my Apple Music. Who knows? But stuff like that sometimes happens. Anyway, so and it even started playing. My phone decided it needed to play stuff. The bell rings anyway. So Syuri charges. Saki just keeps running away from her attacks, and they end up kind of running in circles in the ring. But on a charge, Saki pulls the ropes down and almost eliminates Syuri. And then when she realized she didn't eliminate Syuri, she's like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do it." She's like begging forgiveness from her. Then she almost eliminates her again.
Oh no.
And begs forgiveness again. So Syuri gets back in the ring and charges, but Ruaka actually trips her. Saki's part of Oedo Tai, right? Ruaka trips her from the ringside with the ref distracted, and Oedo Tai handcuffs Syuri to the ropes. Okay, so the ref apparently is just like he's completely distracted.
She's like,
Starlight Kid
whatever.
is very good at keeping him distracted forever. They get a can of like compressed air and they're spraying it in Syuri's mouth. So yeah, and Syuri's just like, what do you do? It's like annoying her, right? Then Saki, she sees her there and she starts kicking Syuri now while she's tied to the ropes, and she goes and gets a bottle of water and she dumps it over. Like she's acting all cocky and confident now. And then Syuri rips the handcuffs off. And then she proceeds to kick the living hell out of Saki. I mean, you can hear the kicks. She's screaming. It's like, oh my God. She pins Saki, but only gets to on multiple attempts to pin her. She puts a reverse figure four on, but Saki reaches the ropes. Syuri follows with a running knee and then a diving famouser for two. A roundhouse absolutely blasts Saki, but she keeps kicking out. Syuri tries to apply the white tiger, but only gets as far as the stretch muffler part before Saki reaches the ropes. Then Oedo Tai distracts the ref. Momo Watanabe slips something to Saki, and then when Syuri comes in, she throws powder in Syuri's face, of course, because it's Oedo Tai. She then she tries to roll her up, but Syuri kicks out, and then she locks on the most dangerous move in professional wrestling, the Kishikasai, and she pins Syuri for the three.
Oh my goodness.
Syuri is pissed. Her face is like covered in purple powder. She yells at the ref, grabs Saki. The ref stops her from assaulting Saki. Like you almost never see after match conflict in Stardom. And Saki just keeps hiding behind the ref. Like she's literally ducking behind the ref now. Syuri goes after Oedo Tai, but then like the Starlight Kid just rubs her face on the ring. Saki runs to the back. Mirai then talks to Syuri and they walk off. But I mean, I got a sneaking feeling we're going to see some serious God's Eye Oedo Tai clashes in the near future because this is certainly setting it up. So yeah, I was thoroughly entertained. The wrestling was good, like really good, but the story, man, the story in this match, I was laughing my ass off. I mean, Saki Kashima was just so good. Her face, her emotions, like the switch when she's handcuffed. I mean, this was sports entertainment done really, really, really well. I had so much fun watching this match. Not just for the sheer wrestling, and of course, And of course, that was the close of the show. No one actually closed the show because everyone was pissed after, like, Shuri was all pissed after the
Oh
match and
yeah,
Saki
yeah,
ran away. So no one actually closed the show, which is kind of a thing. But then we get four more matches, people, and I'm done. The quarterfinals. Waka Tsukiyama defeated Saki Kashima
yeah. Oh no.
with her own new flash pin maneuver. So Waka goes on to the semifinals of the Cinderella tournament. Mirai defeated Xena. Yay! So that gets rid of Club Venus out of the tournament. I'm not surprised. Mirai, it was a good hard hitting match, though. I mean, not too bad at all. And Mirai actually beat her with a package hold. So, close match. Ami Sorai, another member of God's Eye, defeated Natsuko Tora with over the top rope. I mean, they tried to cheat, but the cheating backfired this time, and Ami was actually able to toss Natsuko to the floor. But I mean, Ami Sorai is just, she's so tough, right? So another member of God's Eye in the finals. She's actually taking on her partner Mirai in the semifinals. And then Mai Sakurai in the main event of the night defeated Momo Watanabe with over the top rope. And yeah, Maya actually attacked Momo during her entrance again, grabbed the bat from her. Momo managed to block it, but then they're bat shots and they went back and forth. I mean, the end came when Momo caught Maya on the turnbuckle. Maya pulled her to the apron though, where they fought. Momo went for the B driver, which is kind of like a beach break, but May blocks it. Then in a callback to Momo's last match, he hits the Samato on the apron, but Mai manages to shove her off to the floor. So Mai wins the match. And of course, she grabs a mic again. And she says, in the same tone, apparently, your ladyship has beaten that rotten Peach, Momo being Peach and she is the black Peach in Stardom, and made it to the final four. Today at Korakuen, all the commoners, all the unattractive men came out. Are you going for lunch at the Tokyo Dome Hotel like me? No, you sad, pathetic men will go to a soba stand and fantasize about me. Now, if you'll excuse me, and she leaves. I love this new character. It's such a turn for her, and I love it. Anyway, so that sets us up. We have Mai Sakurai taking on Waka Tsukiyama, and two people I never thought would make it this far in the tournament, versus Mirai and Ami Sorai on the other side. So yeah, interesting. I think it's anybody's tournament. Are they going to have Mirai repeat? I don't know. We will find out as the tournament progresses. But I don't think the semis are for at least a week now. So we'll go back to having some events, and then we'll get back to the Cinderella tournament. So there you go. But yeah, that is my rather lengthy Japan report this week. But guys, Cinderella tournament only happens once a year, and it is a very important tournament. So there you go. That brings us then to our match of the week, Krishna.
So I went back and I watched Dynamite, because I had given the Adam Page, the Adam Cole match last week, like my match of the night. So I went back and I watched the Kenny match again, and I watched the Cole match again. And I think I was on a hype train of, like, Cole's back. I'm so happy he's back, and he fought well. I really did like the him versus Daniel Garcia. And but then I again, watching Kenny and the way this guy just works, I'm like, man, he's so good. He's so awesome. And then obviously I saw the match against Takeshita versus Guevara. And if I was to rank them, I would rank them like 1, 2, 3. I would say Kenny versus I forget his name.
Jeff Cobb.
Cobb would be number 1, followed by Sammy versus Takeshita, followed by Cole versus Garcia. So I'm gonna go with the Kenny Omega versus Jeff Cobb match as my match of the week.
So what you're really saying is that last week when we both picked our match of the night, you're saying, Bill, you were right. Kenny versus Jeff Cobb was in fact the match of the night.
I was just hyped for Adam Cole. I got the hype level got thrown at me, and I was like, "Yay! It's Adam Cole!" And then
right, and let's just take a moment to acknowledge what a great wrestler Jeff Cobb actually is too.
Surprisingly, and that's the thing, right? I think that running power bomb that he gave Kenny surprised me, because I was like, it came out of nowhere, right? He got him up there, and he just did the run quickly, and I'm like, he just run and powerbomb like that.
Yep.
Pretty impressive because like if you've watched wrestling for a while now, like wrestlers get hurt like that. They break their legs trying to run when you're power bombing somebody, right? So Jeff Cobb, even the flips, like even his like he slams him, then he does like the quick like flip on top of him. I'm like, wrestles kind of like Brian Cage style, like a big guy who's very like limber, right?
Yep.
So again, giving credit to Jeff Cobb again, watching Kenny wrestle, I'm gonna say to you that he's been wrestling. What's the word I'm looking for? He conservatively, right? Because
Yes.
I think like if again anyone who's watched Kenny versus Will at Wrestle King knows what these guys are capable, and even then they held back, right? Remember that.
Mhm.
So I have to give credit where credit's due, and at that match against Cobb was great. Like I mean, what's coming up? I don't know, but that match was great.
Yeah, no, it's my match of the week too. I mean, like I said, shout out to Saki Kashima versus Shuri,
Yeah.
which was
Yep.
the sports entertainment match of the week for me by heads and tails. I have never laughed or loved just a performance so much in such a long time. But wrestling wise, now this wins. This wins. I mean, it's Kenny Omega first of all,
Yeah.
and Jeff Cobb, who is so underrated and such a good worker that it's not even funny. And the two of them going at it, totally different match from Vikingo. Totally
Agreed.
different match,
Agreed.
but a really, really good
Agreed.
wrestling match.
Yep.
So, and that's what I love about Kenny. He can wrestle anybody,
Anything.
anybody,
Yeah.
and put on a stellar, stellar match. So, yes, he gets
Wait,
that
did you
match,
get that?
gets match of the week.
What about the joke from Being the Elite when they're like, Kenny Omega can even put in a good match with Omos, and they pause. They pause.
Oh, I love being the elite.
Oh,
So, who's your wrestler of the week then?
wrestler of the week. I've realized what I've been trying to do is not give Kenny wrestler of the week. I've always been trying to find things around him. Like I was thinking maybe I should give Jeff Cobb wrestler of the week, right? But I can't. I can't do it. I'm gonna stop trying to do like somehow not give Kenny wrestler of the week because I feel like I'll just be giving him wrestler of the week every week,
Well, then
right?
maybe he deserves wrestler of the
And
week
maybe he
every week.
deserves it, and then that's it. That's it. So I'm going to again just go back. Kenny Omega wrestler of the week. That's it.
Okay.
Done.
There you go. Well, I didn't give them the match of the week, but I've got to give wrestler of the week to Saki Kashima. Winning with two Kishikasais, different three, two, three. I don't know. She beat a lot of people with the Kishikasais, including pinning Shuri, even though she may have had some powder help from Momo Watanabe, but still pinning Shuri. Her emotional performance, so good. The attitude she has, like when she's facing someone like Waka and she's just got like for days this arrogant, you're just a
Yeah.
punk kid. What are you doing in the ring with me bullying her? But the minute she's in with Suri, she's like a little child hiding in the corner. Like her character is just so awesome and she's so appropriately placed in Oedo Tai. It's not even funny. So yeah, Saki Kashima for her wrestling performance, the moves she did this week. I mean, the matches I watched with her just emotions, everything, storytelling. Way to go. Saki Kashima is my wrestler of the week.
Nice. Nice.
Yep. But that brings a rather lengthy episode of our weekly show to an end. But we had a lot to talk about this week. So there you go. But all things come to an end. And as the great one always says, goodbye, everyone. Mwah, and good night. Bang. It's about damn time Denai picked me as wrestler of the week. I'm sure he says
he probably
that
did say that.
Yeah,
He's like, "What's your problem?"
Yeah.
Good night, everyone.